This week I was sitting in the den,
On the code enforcement page,
or
can
all
people
this
submit like
motion,
online
and they
violations?
bought it off frame. So I had to get that fixed. $675 later.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember Jill Bass, Jill Sutton, she married him, she
All
died
right,
of
excellent,
cancer.
right? I'm
He
sure.
is not
That's a lot of
building
work.
homes and buildings anymore. He's just helping.
I think so. I think
Oh my
so,
God,
yeah.
it's a little old women like you, Brenda. I said, thank you very much. You're my age too. But it's nice to have somebody you can trust. He lives over on Browntown Road. Has a nice place back in the woods with a swimming pool. And he saw the door that goes in an outbuilding was messed up. So I said, just fixing things needs fixing. Pardon? Okay. At this time, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Nashville Town Council to order. Would you please stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. As each time that we gather, we invite you in to lead us and guide us and help us to make the right decisions for the citizens of Nashville. Amen.
Amen.
The first item on our agenda tonight is the approval of minutes. So I'm sure you've read the May 3rd call meeting minutes. Did you have any corrections? If not, do I hear a motion that we approve it?
Move to approve.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next meeting minutes to approve is May 10th, 2022, the town hall minutes. Any corrections?
Move to approve.
Is there a second? We will approve the minutes for May 10th. The next meeting is our budget work session, number 1, May 18th, 2022. Any corrections to those?
Being none, I move to approve.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next minutes are our budget work session number 2, May 25th, 2022. Any corrections to those minutes? Do I hear a motion that we approve those minutes? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And our last set of minutes to approve is June 7th, 2022, our regular meeting minutes. Any corrections to those?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
We have approved all of our minutes. Are there any public comments tonight? No public comments. If not, we'll move on to our next item, which is 4A, Park and Rec Month Proclamation. Corey, do you want to say anything about that, or would you like for me just to read the proclamation? But on that page, it talks about the highlights of some things we've done, and you've worked so hard, I think you need to share those with us.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Parks and Rec Month is something that a lot of agencies around the country recognize the month of July just to celebrate everything that Parks and Rec does. Before you read the proclamation, just to highlight some accomplishments of our local Parks and Rec department over the last couple of years. In March of 2021, we opened our first recreation center. In April of 2022, we opened the Nashville Farmers Market. Last week, we installed the fencing for our dog park and are making progress on it. We hope to open it by the fall of this year. And at our next council meeting, we will have a draft comprehensive master plan for council to consider. And then we continue to add new programs all the time. Some of the opportunities we have in the month of July is Explore Archery. We have our karate program, our pottery camp, our police and fire camp, and of course our weekly farmers market on Fridays. And then we have adult pickleball at the Nashville Elementary School gym. So if you would like to read the proclamation, that'd be great.
I will. Thank you kindly. The proclamation, celebrate Parks and Recreation Month, July the 1st through the 31st, 2022. Whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the town of Nashville, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Recreation encourage physical activities by providing space for popular sports, hiking, trails, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas Park and Recreation programming and education activities such as out-of-school time programming, youth sports, and environmental education are critical to childhood development. And whereas Parks and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas Parks and Recreation is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our state, and whereas Parks and Recreation is essential and adaptable infrastructure that makes our communities resilient in the face of natural disaster. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our state and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas local parks in our state generate over $6 billion in economic activity and provided over 37,000 jobs, ranking North Carolina as 10th in the nation. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas the town of Nashville recognized the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources, now therefore be it resolved that July is recognized as Park and Recreation Month in the town of Nashville. So we need to approve this and celebrate with our Parks and Rec Department July as our Park and Recreation Month. Do I hear a motion that we approve this proclamation?
Mayor, I'd like to make the motion to approve. And,
Second.
Second.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say I really want to thank Coy and Ashley and all that have worked so hard to get this program up, and it's just become a really valuable asset to the town. We appreciate all the staff has done.
Amen. Everywhere I go, I hear positive comments about things that they've done, and that thrills my heart. So all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. So, congratulations and thank you so much, Corey and Ashley. Our next item on our agenda is Economic Development Membership. Randy?
So, the council's received a proposal from Nash County Economic Development, and a request for the town to join the Nash County Economic Development Organization. Currently, the town is a member of the Carolina Gateway Partnership, and we have been for a number of years. Membership into the Gateway Partnership costs the town about $2,500 a year. I'm sorry, $25,000 a year is what the request is. The last couple of years, we've only done $20,000. And so Nash County has no development or no membership fee to join its development organization. So I know you guys have been considering this for a while. Our membership into the Gateway Partnership expires the end of June 2022. So if you're considering switching from one organization to the other, now would be the time to make that decision.
At this time, I am open for comments from the council.
I move that we join the Nash County Economic Development.
What are some other thoughts?
As far as thoughts, I agree with what Louisa said, and I would be willing to second the motion. I do want to say, though, I do think that the Gateway Partnership has worked to the benefit of the town, and certainly I think we can be thankful for all that they have done. I'm willing to try to see what a partnership with the county might be like, what we might be able to accomplish together. So I'm willing to support it.
Do you have any comments, Mr. Taylor?
I'm torn because of, some stuff that I don't need to share. But is there an avenue that we could, for one more year, be a part of both?
The county is trying to put together a board.
They are.
Where they would like for Nashville to have a spot on that. And at this point, they want to focus their resources on Nashville and cannot and will not create that board unless we are involved in it, 100%.
And the reason I'm hesitant about that too is because the Gateway is also creating a new line of commercials and stuff, and I have not seen it yet, but they're putting together some strong commercials that would have Nashville and Tarboro as the two leads on both of them, and like I said, they have done a good amount of work for us, but I'm impressed with what the county is willing to do for us, but I'm only one vote. If three of y'all vote yes, then I'll go along with the majority of the vote.
I was like you. I wanted to stay with both of them because I thought more economic development partners, the better.
That's what.
But the fact that we would save the $20,000 and Nash County would like us to put that in a separate account so that
Right.
we have it ready and available for any sort of economic development incentive is a plus. And then the second plus, I think, is the partnership that they stated, with us to do the shell building. That would be a huge promotion and savings for us, and that's not something that the Gateway is willing to do at this time. So I agree. I think the Gateway has done a wonderful job. OPI has been amazing to work with. I'd like to try to see what happens with Nash County, but I would like them to know that we have appreciated what they've done and, not burn any bridges, that we'd like to work with them in the future in any way that we can.
And Mayor, I do think that the county's willingness to come to the table and talk about joint venture regarding the shell buildings an important part of this.
Absolutely. Ms. Hinton made a motion that we do, go with Nash County Economic Development, and Ms. Hobbs, seconded. So all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 I too.
So we will be joining with, Nash County. The next item on our agenda is the, Sherry Moss, the Planning and Development, Director, about the Downtown Nashville Strong Advisory Board.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Good afternoon.
I am coming to you on behalf of the Downtown Nashville Strong Advisory Board. So we have one appointment, one new appointment, who is Ms. Joanne Pope Clark. She's the owner-operator of Vino Market down on Washington Street. And her appointment will be until December 31st, 2024, along with board members whose terms are due to expire 6/30/22, as well as some other ones that are due to expire June of next year, 2023. But according to our revised bylaws, I wanted those term dates to have an expiration month of December, so they can be in line with the updated bylaws. And in your, what you just received this afternoon, you have a packet of list of board members per your request and have their term. And what you see in the last column to the right, what's in red are the extension dates. So I will be back in December for reappointments for those members.
Okay. Thank you, so much, and we do, have the appointee here with
Yes.
us tonight. Thank you so much for coming. So do I hear a motion that we approve, the appointment to the committee, for the, Downtown Strong?
So
So
made.
moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay.
And, since we're on this, what are we gonna do about these people who ain't been around for a while?
I'm going to reach back out to them.
I mean,
And-
'cause we may have some more citizens, be new business people or whatever, that want to step up and be a part. So, how much time do you need to reach back out to them and get a response? Because it seems like they've been missing in action for the
Right.
last 90 days.
Right, so I can reach back out to them this week. Find out.
I agree with what Larry's saying. I think this is a vital part of what's going on for the downtown area, and we do need people that can be there and be active and involved. So I would certainly encourage us, when we can, to get some new faces
People that
there.
have heart and soul in
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And we really do want to thank Joanne for being willing to
Yeah,
step forward.
yeah,
We're so
absolutely.
excited about what's happening with your Vino Market downtown, and we appreciate your willingness to stay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And make sure when you contact them, they know how urgent this is. If they're not gonna step up, they can step out.
Mayor, do you mind if we get a separate motion to extend those?
Okay,
term
do I
dates?
hear a second motion that we extend the time period for the other?
I'll second it.
Okay, first, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the sewer manhole repair project. Is Lee here?
What was?
Yeah, there's Lee.
Hey, I hope everyone's doing well. All right, so I'll give a summary of the issue, and we'll turn it over to Mike Tolson to give a little bit more detail of the process. But as you know, much of the town's wastewater collection system has reached or surpassed its useful life, which has made it very susceptible to inflow and infiltration, especially in the portions of town with clay pipe and brick manholes. Mike Tolson with Matt Gay and Associates, our engineering firm conducting our asset inventory assessment, has provided a list of 12 poor condition sanitary sewer manholes that he is recommending receive a polyurea spray-on liner to seal the manholes from infiltrating groundwater. So probably a couple months ago, Taylor and I went and witnessed CTR Coatings, the contractor that applies the manhole coating. We watched them do some manholes in Rocky Mount and were very impressed and believe that their product is best suited to repair our leaking brick manholes. CTR Coating offers a state-of-the-art lining product that seals out moisture, adds structural support, and corrosion resistance. CTR Coating is a sole source provider for this product, and the company has provided a quote to not exceed $27,000 to seal these 12 manholes. And as I said earlier, Mike is more familiar with the product. He's used it in a couple of other projects in the area, and he also strongly recommends it. And I think Mike, he did a little bit of a cost analysis, so return on investment, and I'd like to give him an opportunity to come up here in a minute if you guys
Okay,
don't
that'd
have
be
any
great.
questions.
Okay, thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
I'm back to talk about sewer again, so I know it's exciting, but y'all try and
This
control
is the
yourself.
most I've ever been excited about water and sewer.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Somebody does, and I'm glad to do it. The 12 manholes that we picked were 12 of many that we picked they were noted in the inspection reports that we did in the field as having major infiltration or minor infiltration. So the list, the spreadsheet or the table that I think Randy gave everybody looks like this with the yellow notes and stuff on it. So that's the 12 manholes out of the 400 we've done so far that were scored poor and had the worst, what we felt like was the worst cases of infiltration. Now, I could have picked any 12. There's plenty more to do, but we got to start somewhere, and this is a good sampling of the ones that need it. So what you'll see in the columns there, it says, on the very top, the top table says estimated I&I. And for each manhole, we just estimated an amount of flow. Now, if it had a minor infiltration note on it, we gave it 2 gallons a minute. 2 gallons a minute isn't a lot of water, but over 1,440 minutes in a day, it's a lot of water. And we have about 4 or 5 in there that we gave a 5 gallon a minute flow because that was major infiltration, and they were leaking in a way that, you could have filled a 5 gallon bucket up every minute with them. It's hard to quantify that. You just kind of have to gauge it by eye and look at these things and sort of use it as a gauge. But those are the conservative estimates that we used for these 12 specific manholes, so I could show you what this would cost. So in a day, if you have a 2 gallon a minute leak, that's 2,880 gallons of water coming into your system from groundwater. In a month, that's 86,400 gallons. And then the cost that the town is currently paying per 1,000 gallons of water to the city of Rocky Mount for treatment. And now this is an average based on about 16 months of data that you've got on what you paid. So there's some pretty high surcharge values in there, but the average is about $6 to $6.34, $6.50. So we're in that sweet spot, and that $6.34 is roughly what you are paying. So the potential savings per month per manhole, if you look at that list, on 12 of them is $13,146. That's water that you're keeping out of your manholes, that you're not sending to Rocky Mount, that you're not having to pay them to treat for you, which equates to, you multiply that by 12, we get $157,000 in 1 year of savings for doing essentially $25,000 to $27,000 worth of repair work. Now, the good thing about that is the CTR coating, that's a polyurea coating, it adheres to the walls inside of there. It will seal out the infiltration. It's guaranteed for 10 years. That's just the guarantee. There's a warranty period in it that they give you 10 years. We'll come back and prorate out any coverage or anything like that needs to happen to it. And so I'm assuming that these 12 will be the first of what I hope is many that we get to fix in the system. But you can take a look at them every year, every 2 years, every 3 years, whatever it is you choose to do, and inspect them. And if there's a problem with them, you call CTR, they come back and they help you figure out what to do and how to do it, what needs to be fixed, and they come back and fix it. But what I've seen so far is that hasn't been a case with any of the manholes that we have sprayed anywhere that I've done in any of the other towns. We have really reduced a lot of I&I in systems using this type of system, spraying them in the wet wells, in the lift stations that are notorious for having leaks and everything like that, and really making a big difference in the amount of infiltration that these towns are sending to their wastewater treatment providers. But with that said, I tried to do a cost to line the manholes versus what a cost versus potential savings ratio, and anything that's less than 1 would be a good savings because you're not spending as much as you're doing. So if you look over there to the far right, and I don't know if that column's in here or not for you, but all of these are less than a 50%, so you're getting much more bang for your buck on the return for investment. So, and I've got some notes in there about what I had assumed in this, so that you guys know where these numbers are coming from. As you are probably all aware, the rates in the town are probably going to go up a little bit from what you're paying your provider, because I've been told they're going to adjust rates for all of their wholesale customers through City of Rocky Mount. So you're going to see a little bit more. So that 634 is probably closer to what you're really going to be paying long-term per thousand. And so those are what these notes are just trying to explain what's assumed in this. But if you look in that bottom table, the only number that's different that I input is the number in red, where I said, okay, even if it's not 2 gallons or 5 gallons a minute, even if it's just 1 gallon a minute, which I can tell you they all exceeded 1 gallon a minute of leaks. Everyone we've seen has got at least a gallon a minute of leaks, especially the brick manholes, because they're all weeping and leaking like they typically do. Your annual savings becomes $39,000, assuming that's basically 1/5 of what we were assuming it would be, which is still greater than the $25,000 that you're going to be spending to get a 10-year guaranteed product. So it's a very good math equation to look at and see that this would be very viable for the town. And I was very glad that Randy was open to, we were going to come have a demo and do these things, and to show that we can start making a difference in the bottom line on your bills, immediately. I feel like we'll be able to see now. There's a lot more to do and a lot of these things to do, but I feel confident that these numbers are pretty accurate on what they're going to be able to do for you. So, does anybody have any questions for me?
How thick is this coating?
So, the real answer is as thick as it needs to be, and I don't mean to be short with that. But what they do is they spray the interior to prime it. Essentially, they come in, they leak stop the manhole. They come in and grout all of the holes with a hydrophobic caulk that seals out all the leaks that are coming actively in.
Okay.
And then they prime the inside with a layer of this polyurea. Then they spray a foam inside of it that acts as a structural agent. That's a very thin spray foam, if you will. It looks like the little insulation you spray in cracks, but it doesn't expand as much as what you're thinking a spray foam is. And then they come back in immediately after, then they seal it with another coat of this polyurea. So it's 7 to 10 mils thick. But if they need a little more to fill in some cracks where a wall has failed, they can spray a little more foam in and get it so that it's got a nice, relatively, even coat inside. And so you'll see a lot of manholes with bricks. Some of the bricks have started to deteriorate and mortar joints have fallen out. They're sealing all that by closing. They're spraying all that in and sealing that in to get a nice smooth wall. And when I say smooth, it's not, not bumpy, but it's, it's consistent around the whole interior.
How many of these 12 manholes on our fallout line?
None. These are all in town.
These are all in town?
Oh yes, sir. You got a lot more problems in the town limits than you need to worry about than on the outfall just yet.
Okay.
We have only opened a few of the outfall manholes because they're 16 feet in the air.
Right.
There's a whole other process that we need to look at for the outfall before we go lining those manholes. Is what I would say without going into too much detail, because those are not the issue right now, because all of the leaks that we found are in the upper part of the system in town, in the older sections of the system.
Okay.
Because the outfall line is still not really that old. It's not quite 40 years old yet. You've got some manholes and mains in town that are 60 and 70 years old.
Louise, do you have a question?
I have a question. Where is CTR located?
They are based out of, I think it's York, South Carolina, but they have their main headquarters are in Tennessee, so they're on the eastern seaboard, but sort of surrounding the state. They're actually talking about opening a office in North Carolina somewhere because they're doing so much. They've done a lot of Rocky Mount work. We did a bunch of manholes in Elm City with them, and we're getting ready to do a bunch in Middlesex with them. So, they're covering this seaboard, but they did some work in Lake Lure. They've done a bunch of stuff all over the place, and they are the main provider or the sole supplier for this. It's called Obic is the name of the polymer is produced by an Obic corporation, and they're one of the ones certified to spray it and apply it.
Did you have any questions, Kate?
No.
How about you?
You sure I can go on for a while now if you want me to?
Thank you so kindly, Mike. Do I hear a motion to approve this 27,000 contract with CTR Coating for
So
the
moved.
relining of the 12 sewer manholes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so we will proceed with that then. Thank you very much. The next item on our agenda, we go from sewer to trees, the forest planning project. I'll turn it over to Donald Street.
So what makes the trees grow?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Remember, all the trees we plant will suck up water that will not be in our sewer system. So the more we plant, the better. You have received in your package a recommendation concerning the reforestation of the Smith property off Western Avenue that they gave us a number of years ago. As you remember, the property was logged, just open land when they gave it to us, and it has been overgrown right now with invasive grass and obnoxious things. You also have a letter in there from Seth Bogus, our local forester, with different options we could do with it. And the tree board met and decided to go with option 2, although Seth recommended number 3, to plant pine trees, which he was looking at as a future market down the road. Going back to the original forest, the place was all ball cypress and a little black gum, but mainly ball cypress. If you're looking at a market, cypress is worth a heck of a lot more than pine. So it's just a matter of what you want to put down there. So we're recommending that we go back with ball cypress and black gum, which is native to that land. Also, there's some money cost involved in it, which you have before you. The approximate total held in this thing over a 10-year range is $28,500. Now, the numbers we're working with here are not precise numbers. We're working with estimates from the Forest Service. The issue we're looking at right now is upfront money, which is going to cost us roughly $11,000 to get started, because we've got to spray the land, we've got to clear the stuff, we've got to get it planned to get it going. Then after that, in a rotational basis, year to year, every other year, they've got to spray and do what they have to do. So you can see on the agenda you've got there about how much money it's going to take and what we got to do and what the plan is. Anyway, Coy and Ashley put a lot of time in this thing, and that should not go unnoticed. He spent time this afternoon talking with some foresters who do this kind of work, and I've spent some time talking with tree planters, and I've been doing that for years. And they tell us that the numbers that we're working with are reasonably close to what they could do, depending on how we want to go about it. They also recommended that we get started the sooner the better with the spraying, because we'll make this planting season, which starts up 120 days from now. By the time we go through all the hoops of contracts, that time will be on top of us. And they recommend we start spraying the sooner the better, because the later we wait, the more woody stem we'll be working with. And herbicides do not react well to woody stems, because after herbaceous stuff starts to turn solid, it doesn't respond well to herbicide, which would mean that further down the road there'll be more stuff to fight. So I'd like to ask now that the council consider approving this plan and empowering the town manager to move forward with a plan to approach the foresters and see what it would take to complete this program.
My concern is the 30% survival rate is,
Now, that sounds horrific.
It does.
And because you're only looking at a 70% survival rate on pines. But now, the 30% survival rate sounds almost like we're planting things to die. But hardwood trees grow differently from conifers. Conifers grow up and straight down. Hardwood trees grow out in the canopy and out in the roots. And the roots go out at the same rate as the canopy. So if you got a 100-foot wide oak tree, you got 100-foot wide roots under it. Now, as they grow into each other, they will thin themselves. So there's where the death rate comes. But when you get through, just by natural regeneration, you'll have a solid roof of trees. The canopy will be solid everywhere. So the vast wastage is really not as bad as it sounds, because the forest will be complete with a 30% growth.
Thank you so much, Donald. Any other questions from the
comments?
council for
Questions?
Donald?
Okay, we just passed the budget. Where's this money coming from?
Coy, did you want to address the council on this item?
That was the next question about the money. I regret we didn't get it earlier, but we didn't have these figures until now. So we look at the supplemental appropriation. But if you paid heed to my first request for $100,000, the problem would be over now.
We didn't.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Street did a great job summing up that issue. I don't think I have much to add as far as the budget. I know this project was not budgeted in the budget that we just passed, so it would require a budget amendment to proceed with that. So unless y'all have any questions of me.
Are we talking about the 10,500?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
amount that we would,
Yeah, but as Mayor Street had pointed out, those are estimates, and maybe the prudent thing to do is to get some hard figures and facts and then bring it back to the
think that's-
council
I
so
think
you
we
can
need to
see.
I think
table
that's
this and
great.
Get more information. I called Seth, and he was on vacation, but I did talk to someone, and they said that Clark Morton was the one who actually wrote this, and he recommends the Loblolly Pines. So, and he is certified in forestry, so I think we need more information.
But do you make a motion to
I
table?
move that we table this until we get more information, more specifics.
I would like to add, though, that we should move rather quickly on this so that it doesn't become an unusable swath of land. And two, I think if we could get greater clarification on if we did choose the pines, I believe they don't do well in wet, and there's a whole lot of wet out there. And so I don't know that we'd be making any great savings that way either.
Right. Any other comments? Okay, Ms. Hinton has made a motion that we table it until we get more information and the closer, price. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How much longer do we need to put this off?
We
Wait,
don't need to put it off too much
because
longer.
we need to move like you
Right, as soon
said.
as you have those numbers, we'll,
We'll,
How soon do you think we can get some better numbers?
I believe we can get those pretty quickly, and again, the foresters recommended that you spray before the first frost, which is around October 1st. But again, the earlier you spray, the better. The more time that herbicide has time to work, the better off you are, and the better survival rate you have. So
do we know?
we can certainly have some numbers before you by the July 12th meeting, I believe.
Because even if we can just agree to spray, we can get that done
Right.
immediately,
Absolutely.
and then talk more about trees.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Corey, and thank you, Dr. Street, for this information.
Yes, ma'am.
The next item on our agenda is the well assessment contract. And that's Lee again, please.
Hey. Well, I'm sure you guys are all aware of, seems like never-ending issues with our three wells. Number 7, number 5, and number 6 are the current wells that are producing water for us. The town does have 2 additional wells that used to be active that have been taken off of line for what was deemed water quality issues. Quick update. Number 7 is at the state for re-permitting. We're looking to upsize the pump to help with filling the tank on that side of town. Number 6 is back in service and producing well. And number 5, we've been having a tough time getting people interested in bidding to pull the equipment and replace it. So we're continually reaching out to people for that task on well number 5. So well number 5 has been out for several months now, and between the 3 wells, when they're all in production, they're producing approximately 25% of our monthly water consumption. One of the things we ran into with well number 6 was we replaced it with like-kind equipment, and come to find out the hydrology in the area had changed. The well lost capacity. Therefore, that pump was no good. We had to install a new pump. But we learned that things are changing around town in the ground, right? That was a key piece of information. And so what we're looking at now is we've found a company, one of the companies that's responded, that's been very responsive, very knowledgeable with the hydrology in eastern North Carolina, is Applied Resource Management. And what we're looking at doing is assessing all of our wells, so we understand exactly what's the hydrology of the area, the condition of the casing. There's been some concerns brought up about the above ground portion of the casing, so of course now we're curious about what's going on below ground, and those issues are discovered through dropping a camera in the well and having a professional televise it, assess it, and provide us with recommendations. So, like I said, well number 7 is at the state for review, for re-permitting. Well number 6 is in service. We've been occasionally seeing water in the air, or air in the water at well number 6. So what we're looking to do with AMR, or ARM, Applied Resource Management, is we want them to evaluate, televise well number 6, pull the pump, and televise it. Although it's working good, we want to know exactly what we have. They have a professional geologist on staff, which understands the intricacies of that much more than those we've dealt with in the past. Well number 5 has failed. We're looking to have them pull the equipment, televise that well casing, and provide recommendations and get an understanding of what's going on there. And you also know that wells number 2 and 4, which is on Lucille Street and East Washington Street. They're some of our oldest wells that were in the system. They were taken offline for what I said was water quality issues and failed equipment. But now that we've kind of discovered this new company, we're wanting to drop a camera in those wells too, so we can have them assess the condition of the well, take some water samples, and help us determine, is it worth considering to attempt to bring well number 2 and number 4 back in the system. Historical data has shown that those 2 wells each have produced anywhere between 800 to 1.1 million gallons a month. So it's kind of in line with what we've got at well number 5 and number 7, but it would add to it, right? Every little bit helps. But we have to be very aware of the possibility of the water quality coming out of some of those areas. But once they assess it, they're going to provide us with recommendations to help guide those decisions, to make sure that we're aware of everything and not just blindly pursuing something. So Applied Resource Management is the company. I think they're out of Hampstead, North Carolina. They're a full-service environmental consulting and assessment company. They've impressed us with their knowledge, professionalism, and responsiveness. They've provided quotes for all of the necessary, what we're calling the initial scopes of work, right? We want to just assess and know where we're at. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. And the total cost for this current first phase is $16,820.
And do we currently have money budgeted to use for this purposely, or would this require an additional appropriation?
Right, as of now, this would require additional funds. These, they keep, this stuff just shows up, and it's so ongoing, it's been difficult to plan around.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the budget we just passed has enough money to do this assessment. Doesn't it, John?
Yeah, and the water sewer fund is not using any appropriated fund balance for the 23 level.
So we have a line item for our wells to do a
Yeah,
look-see.
we've got maintenance lines, and you're right. What we have budgeted for maintenance, the breakdown of these costs per well is I think it's within there. I think we budgeted 5,000, and these are right around 2,700 apiece.
So if you looked at the quote the company provided, the televising those 4 wells, 2, 4, 5, and 6, it'll be $3,360. And then the pump removals, I mean, you can't put the camera down until you pull the pump out of wells number 5 and 6. So that's $2,800 there. And they gave us another proposal for the drawdown test. That's when they run the well. They put a temporary pump in it and run it for 24 hours, and they see if the water level drops any. If it stays steady, you got a good well, and then you can gauge how much that well will produce. And while they're doing that, they'll grab water samples during that drawdown, have that analyzed. Well number 4, in the past, we've had problems with high magnesium.
2 and 4 have been high in iron and manganese. So that would, again, if that's the case, those are the conversations of, different treatment equipment, different requirements from our operators, and how to address the water quality issues that those minerals cause.
Thank you, Lee. Are there any questions from the council?
I have a question. The only well that's really working is well number 6, right?
Correct.
And that one has cost us a lot of money just to get it.
Correct, and that was, we had talked that we did a like-kind replacement, only to find out after that money was spent that the hydrology changed, we lost capacity, and that's where we're at. We did a drawdown test at number 7, number 5. The company that provided the least expensive quote has kind of been tough to get in touch with, and you saw that this company was almost 3 times that previous expense, so it's just kind of waiting to see what else is available. We've reached out to 3 companies so far.
Well, I like the idea of being as self-sufficient as possible, and I like the idea of knowing these things before spending money that we don't need to spend.
Yes.
So I'd like to move forward with this.
Okay, do you put that in a motion?
I put that in a motion.
Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much, Lee, we appreciate it.
Randy, do you think we need to start, I mean, we've done it before in the past, do we need to start looking at possibly digging another well for the town of Nashville?
Yeah, and that was one of the exciting things about Marv Sheeran's Breedlove subdivision proposal. Is
Right.
There's an acre lot on that property once it gets started. He's willing to give to the town. Lee had gotten a proposal from this same company who employs licensed geologists to do a look-see on that. We didn't include that in these numbers. You remember what that was, Lee?
Not to exceed
$4,200, but we didn't. I didn't feel it was appropriate to talk about tonight because we don't have the construction plat for that subdivision yet. It'll be coming probably in July or early August, from what I've been told. But that gives us the opportunity for another well site, and it's large enough if we needed to do another elevated water tank on the north side of town. It would give us a site to do that also. So that's kind of.
That's good.
Yeah, but there's no need to construct a tank if we don't have the wells to fill it,
Right.
Yeah.
And there was some talk earlier, some years past, about some farmer was gonna give us a spot 58 South, right outside of town, the edge of town, to put a well. But I can't remember who that person was.
Okay.
Maybe some of the old firemen may know. You don't remember?
We need to work.
Not trying to put anybody on the
We
spot,
going-
so.
have going first, yeah.
But yeah, we probably need to try to explore that.
I would like to just mention that during Hurricane Floyd in '99, our wells were what got us through that.
Mm-hmm.
We were highly dependent because, and so, the idea of just one well, number 6, working is scary.
It's very concerning.
So we're gonna look into this now, so that'll be a good thing. Okay, thanks, everyone. The next item on our agenda is the street resurfacing project. Randy?
Sure. So in your packet is it's a recommended list of streets for resurfacing that Lee and I had come up with. The street resurfacing project, it includes 3 different types of street resurfacing. Asphalt overlay, a cape seal for, well, the asphalt is for the worst condition streets. The cape seal is for streets that are in poor condition, but we could really extend their life with a cape seal. And then the third one is a lighter treatment yet, a slurry seal. And that's a product the town's been using for several years now, and we've had really good luck with that as far as extending the life of the street surface. The expected life expectancy for an asphalt overlay is 12 to 15 years, the cape seal 9 to 12, and the slurry seal 7 to 10. The FY23 budget, which the council passed back in June or earlier this month, it contains $724,000 for street resurfacing. The projected cost for the street resurfacing that is in the packet is $724,862. And that'll cover about 45% of our streets that are in need of some type of attention now with street surfacing. And working with John, it looks like we would be in a position, if everything goes right with this upcoming budget, the following year, FY24, to do maybe another round of a similar amount, which would get us pretty well caught up on street surfacing and would allow us to, it would make our POW money sufficient and carry us probably for the next 8 to 10 years without having really to expend much more money than just the POW money we get every year for resurfacing. So at this time, if you wanted to look, those streets that we have listed there for an asphalt overlay would be North Clarendon and South Clarendon, a good portion of Birchwood. We also do Lakeview Drive, which was a street on the west side of town that came up a couple months back as being in bad shape, and it is. And then it's associated Lakeview Court with South Clark Street and South Smith Street. So those would be the 7 streets for asphalt overlaying. The projected cost of those, $389,000 if that unit price of $19.55 a square yard holds. The Cape Seal, so we'd have North Brookland, Sibley Drive, Old Wilson Road, Club Drive, Fairfield Road, Oak Court, Cypress Court, Sycamore Court, Aviation Avenue, Laurel Springs Drive, and Woodfield Drive. And those at that unit price of $4.84 would be about $181,000. Then the slurry seal, which is the least expensive, but you don't get as much life, and we would apply that to streets that aren't nearly in as bad shape as asphalt or the Cape Seal. But we're looking at Park Court, Park Avenue, Jackson Way, Correll Street, Birchwood Village Drive, Birchwood Village Court, Birchwood Drive, a portion of it that's not being overlaid with asphalt, Birchwood Court. We would have East Vernon Street, Southside Drive, Rose Street, Battle Drive, Freeman Street, Freeman Extension, Golfers Lane, Doral Drive, Prestwick Drive, Nassau Court, Sunshine Court, Trone Court, Oak Court, and a number of those I've been told we haven't touched since they were put down originally, probably 30 to 35 years ago. So we've really gotten our money's worth out of those street surfaces. Beech Tree Drive, Meredith Wood Court, and North Lumber Street. So what staff is recommending at this time is we let a bid for the asphalt work first. And that's something that we worked with Stocks Engineering to come up with a specification for last year. And we bid it out when we did South Brake Street and a couple other smaller streets. So we can do that staff in-house, bring that back, get that under contract, so to speak, and then we would let out a bid letting for Cape Sealing and Slurry Drive. And we wouldn't exceed that original number of $724,410. And depending upon how the prices come back, we may have to adjust what streets we actually do. But it will be a really good start on a very impressive street resurfacing program for the town. We haven't done this kind of street resurfacing work probably in 30 years.
I think our citizens will be real happy with this. that
How
live
much,
on this
how
street.
much engineering costs are we gonna get hit with above and beyond this?
Well, that's the thing, Larry, you know, it's, the dollar amounts here, you don't have to do formal competitive quotations. You can do informal bids. And we have the ability in-house with the asphalting, the Cape Seal and the Slurry Seal to do that.
I'll see.
Yeah, and Kevin Varnell offered his services. He would help us along if we needed help, and it didn't sound like it would be a significant cost at all.
Okay.
What are your thoughts, Council?
I
You have
just
a
wanted-
question?
I wanted to mention one thing about Park Avenue between Fort and Washington Street. That has become a major cut through. It's a curvy little road, but people cut through there all the time. And Slurry Seal is just about something you use in a parking lot, not much better. I'm just
Okay.
thinking that it probably needs more than slurry.
More like a Cape Seal, which is a little stouter resurfacing.
That's my feeling.
Okay,
If you drive through it now, it looks like you're driving through Beirut. It's just, you know, the streets are in bad shape.
yeah, a lot of the streets, yeah, I mean, water services and sewer lines have gone bad, and they've been cut in to replace those, and it just seems like the patch that goes in is not ever seamless. You feel it forever. So there will be, on all three of these resurfacing projects, patches in the street that we cut out and redo and then go over top of them. So when we're finished, it should be a nice uniform surface all the way through and be a nice smooth transition through there. There's a portion of Birchwood that we're not touching, where Robbie and Jason Davis are building the new houses there. We didn't see a whole lot of point in resurfacing that if we're only gonna be cutting it up to extend the water and sewer line. So we'll let them get those new houses in there in a couple of years, and then we'll come back and do that portion of Birchwood Drive.
I take it you're holding off on Clarendon too until those are up.
Yeah. And of course, too, anything for Essex Road, you know, we have the application out there that we hope will get funding for to construct that sewer collection system along Essex Road. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to do any type of resurfacing out there if we're gonna be putting in a new sewer line and cutting back and forth across it till it's finished and installed.
Council, do I hear a motion that we proceed with this?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Motion carries, so you may proceed. The next item on our budget is the budget amendments. John?
Budget Amendment 28, that is increasing Gully Fire tax revenue by 10,000 to 602. We've already exceeded that figure collected. And in turn, increasing Fire's vehicle maintenance line item for 10,000. There was an unexpected engine repair on the 2007 fire truck that left it unoperational, so that was an emergency and it needed to be done.
Council,
Move to approve.
Second.
do I hear a second? Did you have a question? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving these budget amendments 28, 29, and 30, let it be known.
You only say it once.
We do one at a time?
Just 28.
28, okay, 28.
Well, you're free to approve all three of them, and I'll go sit back down.
No,
I want to at least hear you explain it.
Okay, explain 29, we've approved 28.
29 is, so when the 22 budget was passed, it used ARPA funds directly to fund Fund 72, which is the water sewer capital projects. This is changing the funding source from Fund 60, the coronavirus relief fund, to Fund 30, the water sewer fund.
So this is just an intra-fund transfer, basically, is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Do I hear a motion that we approve,
So moved.
Second.
Second.
And then in the next year's budget, the general fund is then sending money to 30 to make 30 full then. So
Makes sense.
it's eventually getting there, but.
it's been, a motion and a second that we approve amendment, number 29. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And budget amendment 30 is moving money from finance and HR into admin due to increased, higher than expected legal fees.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Thank you, John, so very much. Appreciate it. The next item on our agenda is our town manager's report. Do you have anything to share?
Just, I think we've already told you, the rural transformation grant that we put in for the Nashville Junction, it didn't get funded. And we were told by staff with Department of Commerce that they loved our project, they liked our application, they felt it was a very strong application. But that component, they had several different components that you could apply for. The particular one that we were eligible to apply for, they have a rule that you have to own the land or you don't get funding. As you know, we have in our inducement agreement with Michael Hurt for the junction that once we build the parking lot, the outdoor stage amphitheater seating area, and get those things done, then he will give that land to the town, but we don't own it yet. So that was the reason given why we were not awarded that.
Did they have that in the, when you, was it, right there in bold, that you saw that before you wrote the grant? You know,
So-
that we had to do that?
In the guidelines, I looked at those today. In the guidelines, there are several different categories for where you can apply, and we applied in the downtown development section, I think it was.
Revitalization.
Revitalization. But even in those categories, they had little subcategories where several times it did say that it had to be publicly owned. However, people were making applications for money to purchase properties. So they didn't own the property at the time, but they would purchase the property with the funding. So I guess that's one of the parts of our argument, that we will own the property. If we receive the grant, we fulfill our portion, which is to build what we said we would build, and we would be granted the property. So that's argument number one. But number two is there's a whole section in there that does not require public ownership of the property. It specifically states that you can make public improvements on small business property, and even specifies that you can use it for parking lots, you can use it for streetscaping, you can use it for sidewalks and things like that, which I think would be exactly what we're trying to do. And so I was hoping that we could send our soldiers out to try to get a second look, because they've only given out 20 million of the 50 that they have. So they were, I think, originally going to split it even, 25 and 25. So we still have 5 million that's potentially on the table. So if we could get a second look and say, hey, first of all, we do comply with this because we will be granted this property and we have at least control over it. And secondly, it's not even a requirement, because right here it specifically says that we can make public improvements on private property. So I think that they've already had conversations, but I'm hoping that we can really make a big push, especially this week, before anything is permanent.
Also, in September, there's a second round, so.
Right,
we
but
can
I'd love to
reapply.
reapply for something different, so we can get two things out of it instead of making a better application for the one or something else.
I think it's worth fighting for.
Yeah, I think it's worth fighting for too, and that's your knowledge area, so I say put on your armor too and go forth.
Make a strongly worded letter.
But anyway, keep on keeping on. There's always hope.
I noticed you were going to say something. I'm sorry, I totally
No, that's
interrupted.
okay. As long as I have the support from the council and Randy, I'll keep asking those questions. I don't mind at all. If they didn't know who we were before, they definitely know now. So.
Well, I appreciate all your effort, and maybe something good will come out of it. You know, just keep on trying.
The only other thing to report, Mayor, is on our charter, Francis Raspberry, our attorney, has championed the changes that we wanted to see and insisted be in our charter. And he's made great progress with legislative bill writing this past week. And that has gone to the Senate committee for whatever they do in the Senate committee. They talk about things, I guess. But I haven't received a follow-up report from him yet, but he felt really good going into that all the changes that we wanted to put in are going to make it into the final bill and be adopted by the legislature. So our charter will be worded nearly as we wanted it.
Good, that's good. Any comment from the council?
I've already mentioned it to Randy and to Sarah, but I'm want to let the rest of the council know August the 2nd, I will not be here.
Okay.
I will actually not be here on August the 2nd either.
You won't?
No, I'm in New York.
Well, we might have to
I don't
change our
feel too
day.
bad now then.
We might have to move that to a different date
Yep.
then. Let's talk about that, like, you know.
Right.
Any other council comments?
I see Susan out in the audience, Susan Phelps, and I just wanted to say publicly, she's been such an asset to the town. For years now, she has been working with Downtown Strong. She's been working with us individually. She's been working with Randy. She's been working outside of us and just making Nashville great. And so I'm very excited to formally now be working with you.
I think it's going to be a great partnership, Susan. I really do, and I'm just looking forward to great things. Anybody else?
Mayor, I would like to also thank Chief Puckett. I know he's been working kind of behind the scenes. We've had some little issues over on Park Avenue with some people trespassing, and he has been having his officers work diligently to try to curtail that. And I thank you for your efforts there, Chief, and your staff.
Ditto. He's always doing a great job, and his staff, and I just love the way they are a team working together. That's really great, and that comes from good leadership, so thank you so much.
Chief Puckett, I have a question. There was a police presence at the corner of Fort and Park Avenue today.
Mhm.
Can you elaborate on that? I think there were 3 vehicles, police vehicles.
I don't know about the meeting in Raleigh, but I
Okay.
haven't checked that either. The check warrant, because Officer Yates probably did a check warrant.
It will, I stopped by,
Was it
and they
checkpoint?
were running the checkpoint, that's what it was. And they, and I asked them how were they doing, and they let out a couple of warnings and wrote a couple. So it did come good.
And I'd like to thank our staff for all that you do for our town and all the citizens that come. I just really feel good about our leadership in all areas, and we appreciate everything you do for the citizens. So if there's no other comments, our meeting is adjourned.
Move to adjourn.
Oh, I've got to have a motion. I am telling y'all, I can't hear. I am in a tunnel. I've lost my hearing, and everything echoes. So do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.